Hello everyone, welcome back again. My name is Jesse, and in this wonderful tutorial, we're trying to see how to build a very simple app in Streamlit. We're building a StreamBible. We are calling the app StreamBible. We got the idea of the name from Charlie. So let's see what we're building. So this is a very simple app that is used to explore the Bible, right? So it gives you the option of the verse of the day, right, which is taken from somewhere in the Bible. That's the verse of the day. Then you can actually search for a particular single verse. This is going to be a single search, right? So if I go to Genesis chapter 1 verse 1, let's choose, let's say, verse 26. Then it's going to bring that particular verse here, right? Very simple and very nice. So that is a simple aspect of the app in which you can search for a single verse, right, at the home section. It's going to load it, and this is the verse. It's going to automatically change the verse of the day anytime you refresh it. Very cool. Now, if I go back down again, I can also do search. I can search for a particular name or a particular topic or a particular theme, right? So I come down here to the search option, and then with this option, I can search for a theme. So let's search for my name, right? My name is in the Bible anyway. Then I click on Jesse. Then it's going to go through my database, right? My data set that I have. Then it's going to search for that particular theme or topic. It's probably going to still be changing this one. This is constant, but this is being changed. Then if I come back here, I check the verse. So the name Jesse is found in 44 verses of the scriptures, and these are all the places we can find the name Jesse based off our data set. Very cool. And you see that if I click on this one, you see everything is Streamlit. This is out of the box from Streamlit. Very cool. Now let's go back to the other section of the app, which is the multiverse. In case I want to read multiple verses, this is just the first one is single verse. The next one is going to be multiple verses, as well as the steady mode. So it's going to come down here. Then from here, like we had this Genesis chapter 1, in case I want to select more verses, I can just add, let's say I want to add a verse 6, and then let's say I want to add verse 7 or verse 9 to it, right? So it's going to add all of these verses to it. You're going to see the verses that has been added here, right? So Genesis chapter 1 verses 1, 6, and 7. Then it's going to display them here, right? It's taking some time for it to load the dataset. Perfect. So just finished. So you can see that there's a verse 1, there's a verse 6, and verse 7. So that and verse 9. Very cool. So this is for multiple verse retrieval. And you can also do check the steady mode. So for the steady mode, you can visualize all the entities within our test by clicking on this. So it's going to visualize all the entities. So we have it is a location there inside this particular verse. We also have it there. It's going to give you all the entities within our test. Very cool. Then I can also go back and not only just visualize the entities, I can also visualize a part of speech tag in this powerful nice color. So this is going to be the color. So the it's, any place you see green, that means it is a noun. Any place you see blue, that means it is a verb, right? And the rest, right? Very cool. And then the red is adjective. Very cool. So this is going to be visualizing the part of speech tag. Then I can go back to see the tokens, right? The most commonest word within our term. So these are the most commonest terms within our term, with God being number 4. Then I can also check for the word frequency for that particular passage of the scriptures. And then from here you can see, I don't know, yeah. So we can also check for the word frequency here, which is going to be the most commonest words within our test, right? In a very nice plot using alter. So these are the plots, right? So some of them are stop words, but you have to see how to take them out. Then if I come back to the verse curve, so the verse curve is going to give us the Mendel-Howe curve, which is used in stylometry to be able to help us know who authored a particular part of the scriptures, right, or a particular book or something. Very useful. So there's a whole video, there's going to be a link to a whole course on doing more with natural language processing. It's a technique in NLP and then text analysis. Very nice. So that's for the verse curve for that particular verse selected. Then we also have the last plot, which is going to be the POS tag plot, which is going to give us the frequency of the number of nouns, or all the different parts of speech, right, in a very simple way. Very cool and very nice, right? So this is how it's going to be. That is a simple app we'll be building in this wonderful tutorial. It's very, very simple. So we'll be building everything. From scratch, right? And then later we're going to upload it on GitHub and then on Streamlit Sharing. So let's see our work. So this is going to be our workflow. So this is how our structure is going to be. We will first of all have a simple app that is going to have 3 different sessions, or 2 sessions but 3 different features. A place you can search for a single verse, another place you can search for multiple verse, and then you can also do some steady mode, which is going to be the analysis, right? Then you'll be using Streamlit, Pandas, Spacy, TestBlob, Neat Test, everything to help us do our processing behind the scene. Then you'll be posting it on GitHub, and then you'll be sharing it to everybody using Streamlit Sharing. So let's see how to work on it. So we'll go back to GitHub, and then we're going to create a repository. Then we're going to call it that StreamBible, right? So this is using the new theme. I'll come back here. I'm going to create a new repository. Then I'm going to call it as my stream. Hope the name is not taken. StreamBible. Hopefully the name is StreamBible, right? Right, the name is available. Yep. Yeah, the name is available. So that's the name we're using. So StreamBible. Then we're going to call it as a simple Streamlit app. Oh, Bible app with Streamlit, right? Something very simple. And then test analysis, something like that. Test analysis, right? Something like that. So that is something simple, and I'm going to make it public so that you can be able to share it. Then I'll initialize it with a README. Then we will just move on. We are not going to add a license to it now. We're going to create a repository. So we are doing everything from scratch. Perfect. So StreamBible, right? Very nice. Now let's clone it. So I'll just copy this one here. Then we can use the new Github CLI clone, which I already have, or you can just go to the normal option, right? But let's use the CLI, which I've already installed. So I'll copy this one here. Then StreamBible, yeah. Then I'll go back to my terminal. So let's open another terminal. You can see the arrow behind it, right? Okay, so I'll go back to my terminal here. I don't know whether you can hear my audio. Then let's move to the location. So I'll move to my document, my JGithub, and I'll clone it here. So paste it here. I'm going to clone it into this particular location. So we are using GitHub CLI, right? That's why it is GH. It's going to clone it there perfectly for us. So clone into that place, and there is nothing there. So I'll move into it. I'm supposed to update it, but let's move into the StreamBible. There's nothing here. I'm going to create my first file, app.py. I'm going to create a folder called data where I'll put in my app. So if I check for the structure of it, we have it as this. So we have our app and our data, right? It's taking some time. I'm using tree. This is coming from Linux. So you can just use sudo apt-get install tree, right? Very nice. Now let's open our app. And then using Sublime, then you start writing some code. So we have seen our app. So let's try go back to our displays and check the project. So there's another feature out of GitHub which most people don't use. So I'm using the project to structure our app. So I'll go back to the project, then I'll create a new project. This is not part of it, but just to make it interesting, I'm going to call it as my StreamBible steps, right? Or let's see, project. This is going to be something optional. So StreamBible app, something very simple. Then let's use a simple project. So let's pick a project template. We can use, there are several project templates. You can use a basic Kanban. You can use any of them. So let's use a basic Kanban. Then let's create a project. Then trying to see how to do it right. So to do what you are supposed to do, what you are already doing, and then the last one. Perfect. So this is going to be a long tutorial. We are trying to make it look interactive. So let's go back down here. So I'll just take some of them off. Don't know whether you can see it well. I hope you can see it well. I'm going to take this one off because some of them I don't need. This is just description of how to do that. So I'll just click on this. Then I can just edit it, or I can take it off. I delete that particular note here. Yeah, I want to delete it. Then let's delete this one too. These are all cards. I can edit them, or I can just delete them. So let's go back to the delete, starting everything from scratch. So what I'll do, I'm going to go to add a note, and what you'll be doing is that this is going to be the structure of the app, or let's call it as the aim of the app, or the aim, and then or the goal, right? You have to specify the aim. Then the next one is going to be the structure of the app, structure, and setup of the app, setup, right? Which we have done. Then the next one is going to be GitHub Repo creation, which you have done already. Then next one is going to be building the app. Building the app. Then later on we will try and see how to host the app or host the app on GitHub, and then Streamlit Sharing. Apologies for the noise you're hearing behind. So this is the structure, right? So this is simple Kanban. So we already have the aim. So let's try and do the aim, right? Why are we building the app? What's the purpose of the app? Then we have already created the GitHub repository. So I'm going to put it here. So we have done this one already, right? So let's shift it here. We are done. Now we need to move on to structuring the app, right? So we have to the aim and then the structure of the app. So I'll come back to my location, which you have already opened with here. We already saw this one, right? We're able to see this one. So we have already opened it with Sublime. Right, everything is there. So let's specify the aim of this particular app. So I'll make it bigger. So this is going to be the one that we got from the GitHub repository, right? It's becoming slow, but apologies for that. It looks like there's nothing here, right? So this is it. So let's specify the aim of the app, the aim, right? Or what you're trying to solve. So the aim is that we're going to just build a simple app with Streamlit for Bible studies, right? Something like that. That is what you're trying to build. Bible studies. Something very simple. So that is the aim of what you're trying to build. Now let's see our structure. The structure of the app is going to be like this. We are going to have, as we already said, we're going to have a single version, right? Verse session. We're also going to have a multiple verse session, in which you can have multiple verse retrieval. Then we're also going to have a simple steady mode. So the steady mode is going to be with all the various test analysis and NLP stuff, right? Something very simple. So that is the structure of our app. And so let's go back, and then we have done with the structure of the app. So we're trying to see how to set it up. We have done with the goal. Put it here. Let's move on to this structuring of the app. So I'll come back again to my Sublime test, which we have here. And then it's empty. So I'm going to import my packages. So I'm going to import my core package. Import Streamlit as st. Then we're going to be importing a Streamlit component. So Streamlit.component.v1 as stc, right? That is going to be the core app. Then we need some normal EDA packages. We're using pandas, so we're going to be importing pandas. So import pandas as pd. Then also need to import neat-test to help us clean our test. Neat-test, yeah, as nt. Or let's go with neat-test.functions as nt, as nf, right? nfs, right? Something like that. So this is the basic EDA aspect. Then for our data visualization, database packages, as we always do, be importing matplotlib.pyplot as plt. Then also be importing matplotlib. I can't spell. Then we'll be using matplotlib. The backend is going to be using the AGG, right? You can also use TKGG, but let's move on with this. Now let's also import Altair. So it's going to be importing Altair as ALT. So the reason I'm not creating a virtual environment, right? I can actually create a virtual environment here, pip env, and I'm going to install all these particular packages. But I'm using pip rex to help us get the packages because it's going to take time. So in case you want to install any of them, just go with pip3 install Streamlit, right? The package to be using. Be installing Streamlit, be installing pandas, be installing Spacy, be installing test blob, be installing neat-test, be installing NLTK, and then Altair, and matplotlib, right? So these are the packages we'll be using. So let me copy this one here. These are the things we'll be using. Copy this one. We are going to use the piprex to help us get it, but let me paste it inside my readme, right? So let's go to my packages, installation, we will just take it out later. So this is how it's going to be, right? So these are the things that we are using, right? Very Streamlit, Pandas, Spacy, test blob, need test, NLTK, and then author, and then matplotlib. So I'll come back to my app here, and then let's build it. So we're going to go with def, our main. Then let's go to st.title StreamBible, right? So in order for this video not to be too long, I will be breaking them into pieces. So after each of the sessions, so that it becomes easy for us, right? Then I'm just going to close it here. So with the if main. Perfect. So let's create our menu. So the menu is going to have this option of, we have our home session, which is going to be the single verse. We have our multi-verse session, multi-verse, right? And then we're also going to have our about. That's going to be our menu. I'm going to create my choice, what I can select. So st.sidebar.select box. Then I'm going to specify the menu, then the menu that the person can choose from. So if the choice is equal to home, I want you to pick the st.subheader. It's going to be single verse search, right? This is going to have the search and a single verse. So else if the choice, I don't know whether I can see it, or I hope you can see it well. Let me bring it this side. I'll be structuring them, putting them beside it. So else if the choice is multiverse search, it's going to be st.subheader. So multiverse retrieval. Very nice. Then else st.subheader is going to be about the app. Very simple. So that is the structure of the app that we have built. So let's check and see if our app is working. So I'll go back to my terminal. This is the old one. This is the same location that we are working on our app. Our app is there. So to run it, just go with Streamlit run app.py. I'm going to run the app, and I'm going to close the old one. So you can see that it's automatically going to open my browser. It's opening from ports, this particular port, but let's use Chrome, right? Because Chrome is cool. So I'll copy this one, open Chrome, now position Chrome beside it. Then I'll push it in beside it so we see what you are doing, right? That is one of the best ways of designing Streamlit app. So I'll put my test editor here. Right. Yeah. Now we have it side by side. Okay. Perfect. So that is something very simple. So our app is working. So we have StreamBible. We have the single verse search. We have the home for the single verse search. We have the multiverse for the multiple verse search. We have the next one, which is going to be the about, right? Everything is working as expected. So that is the first step of structuring our app. So we have seen how to do this single one. So single verse, multiverse, steady mode. So this is what we'll be trying to do, right? So we're working on the single verse, multiverse, and then the steady mode as we move on. So let's go back to our Kanban. This is from the old one. So I'll just put it here. We are done with that, right? So what we'll be doing is that we'll be trying to see how to work on the building the app. So in building the app, we have 3 sections. We have the single verse search. That's what we're trying to do, right? So we're trying to see how to build a single verse search. Then we move on to building the multi-verse search. So I'll come back again to my app that is already running, and let's work on it. The camera is busy, so let's take it off. Let's take myself off, right? Perfect. So now let's see how to work with this. So I'm just going to come back again to using pandas. We already have the data set here. If I go back to my location, we have the data set here. So if I go back and I check it again, now I've added the data set, which is 3 different Bible versions. So you can use any of them as you wish. But in this our case, we'll be using KJV, right? So this is the Bible version that you'll be using, right? So that's what we're trying to use. So we're using pandas to help us work with it. So we'll load our data set. So let's create a function to help us with that. So it's going to be our functions. It's called utils, which is going to be a simple function that we'll be using. So I'll call it as my def load Bible, right? Then I'm going to pass in the data that I want to load. I'm going to call it as my df pd.read underscore csv, pass in the data, then return that df, right? Very simple. So let's use caching to help us. That's st.cache, because it's going to be the same Bible verse we'll be using. Very simple, right? So this is a simple function that to be using to help us load our Bible verse. So let's bring it here. Now it's asking us some questions. So the question is asking us is, do you always want to run? Let's go with always run, so I'll be able to see the activity of it. Then I'll come back to the top of my app here, right? So this is for the single verse session. So I'll come back, and then before we select any of these things, I'm going to load my dataset. So I've got as df. It's going to be the entire dataset for everything. I've got as Bible df, but let's go as df. Then I'm going to load the Bible, which is going to be inside my data folder. I have my KJV Bible.csv. So this KJV Bible is the one that is coming from here. If you go back here, you can see from here that we have the KJV Bible, right? So that's what you're trying to use. Perfect. So you're reading that one, and then in case I want to see it, I can just go with st.dataframe df, right? We are loading the dataset before the app, before the choices. So if I go back here, see that it's loading Bible. Then if I go back to the single session, which is for the home session, we will be able to see it working. So loading Bible, so load Bible, running load Bible, right? Then you can see that the Bible verse is going to be shown here, right? The Bible database or the data set we have is going to be shown here. Take some time for it to run because it's a lot, right? So loading, and then voila, we have it here. But as you can see, some of the parts, the ID is not important. What we need is the book, the chapter, and then the verse, and then the text, right? So these are just for the author is also important, so you can also use these for ones, right? So that is the single verse. Now let's see the search. So what I'll be doing is that I'll pick all the books, I'll pick all the chapters and the verses, then we will make it in such a way that we can search for it, right? So this is going to be something like this. So I'm going to call it as my Bible, or we can call it as a list of Bible, anyhow we want it to be. So I'll come back here. So let's work on it. So we'll be picking all these ones. So I'll call it as book list. So let's call it as my book list, right? I'm using df. I'll select the book session, right? Dot unique. And I'll convert it to list, right? So this is going to convert the entire stuff to list for me. Then I can actually show it to the user. So I can just call it as my book name, the particular book of the Bible, book name. There's going to be st.sidebar.select box. Then I'll specify that I want you to select the book, right? Then the book list. So if I save it now and I come back to the sidebar here, now you're going to see that we have the sidebar option here. So it's loading it. Then we are going to see it at work here. You're going to see the option of selecting the particular book of the Bible right here. Take some time for it to run. I think maybe my system is slow. So let's check it out. Why is it slow? Okay, oh, I've noticed why it is slow. Just loading it. If I go back to the sidebar here, so now we have it here, right? Very, very simple and very cool. So we have all the books of the Bible there. Very nice. So we are done with one aspect of it. Now let's work on the chapter, right? So to be able to work on the chapter, you also be doing the same thing. So let me expand it here. Let's take off this. Come back again, then I'll expand it. Like I want to show myself. Okay, so the next one is going to be the chapter. Right, so the chapter we'll be using just like that. So st.sidebar.select box. We can actually use name input. So let's use number input. So number input. Using the number input option, I'm going to specify the chapter. Then every book of the Bible is going to have chapter 1. So that's going to be the minimum. Then also do the same thing for verse. And every book of the Bible is going to have a verse 1. Right. There's another way we can do this one by making sure that it picks the particular chapter and find the chapters, the number of chapters and number of verses and populate it. But that is going to be too long, right? So let's go with the verse. Then this is going to be verse 1, right? Every book has verse 1. That is all. Now after that, you have to select that particular Bible. So let's go to my Bible now. df. which in this case is going to be my df, right? And I'm going to specify the particular book, which is going to be the book we have selected. Let's go to the book name. So this is going to give us only that particular book name, right? So in other ways, we can actually use this one here. Right? Build a data frame, and then use the chapter and then the verse to be able to give us the upper limit and lower limit for that particular chapter. I hope you get the point, right? So in that case, we're going to be selecting, just as we did here, unique, right? You're using that same thing to select the upper limit and the lower limit here. Right? That is another thing we can do. But let's move on with this option, right? Perfect. So that is all. Now let's create a simple column. So let's change this one off. Take off this one. We don't need this one again. We don't need this one. But I want to rather preview it here. It's going to be my st.dataframe, my Bible df. This is the selected Bible that we have. So if I go back and I check what we have done so far. So if I pick a particular verse of the book of the Bible, it's going to only select that particular book, right? So now I see that there's only Genesis. As you can see, if I expand it, let's expand it and see. My camera is freezing, I think so, right? Yeah. So if I expand it here, you can see that it's only Genesis that is selected. It has not selected anything. Only Genesis, right? Very cool, very nice. If I go back to the sidebar and I select, let's say, a different book of the Bible, let's use this, like let's say Joshua, right? So only going to select Joshua for us. Very cool, right? That is something very simple. So loading Bible, now just only selected Joshua, right? That is something that we have done. Now let's move on to the other aspect, which is going to be how to pick the particular Bible verse. So let's use a simple column. So I'll create a column 1 and column 2 for a layout. So this is going to be my layout. So let's put it here. In case you have any question or contribution, you can just put it in the comment section below. And I don't know whether my audio is becoming bad. Apologies for that. Nowadays I'm apologizing more for the audio, right? So it's going to be st.beta columns, and then I'm going to specify that I want just 2 and then 1, right? So 1 for this one, we're going to have 2 layout. So this is going to be C1. It's going to be the verse, right? Single verse layout. Then the next one is going to be the verse of the day, right? Perfect. So let's go with the single verse layout. So it's going to be my C1. So with C1, right, column 1, I want you to preview it. So let's use try except, right? So be using try except. Let's use try except. So we are using try except because we don't want to be picking every verse. Sometimes some of the verses may not be there, right? So that's why you're using try and except. So it's going to be try except. So I'm going to bring out that particular verse that we want. So let's go to selected passage that I want. I don't know whether the video is becoming so long, so I'm going to pick my Bible. Then I'll be using a simple condition to help us with that. So that is the condition we're using. You're going to say that for that particular Bible verse, so Bible df, we're using a condition. So Bible df, pick the chapter that we have taken. If that particular chapter is equal to the chapter we have selected, that's going to be the first one. That is going to be the first one. Then I'm going to create another condition, which is going to be the same thing. So Bible df, that's selected Bible. Then we're going to pick in the verse, which is going to be equal to the verse selected, right? So I hope you get the point. So the basic idea that we are just doing this, we are selecting the particular passage of the Bible, right, that you want to read. So the Bible, the entire data frame, we are picking the chapter selected here from here and a verse from here, right? Then I'm going to use it and give us our result, right? So now in case I want to print it, I can just go with my st.write the selected passage. So let's save it and see what you have done. So I'll come back again. Okay, so it's loading it. So this is the old one. So let's take the old one out. So we have it here. So let me bring this one beside it. So that now it has only selected that particular verse that we had, right? Very cool, very nice. But what we need is we just need only the text, not the verse. We need the verse and the text. So to be able to do that, you can just come back again here and add that particular feature to it. To be adding that option of selecting that particular text, right? So we can just make it like this. You can specify the details by making it like this option. So let's come back to the top of this place. Oh, let's make it like this here. I only want the text, not everything. So I'll come back, then I'll say that let's give the passage details. So let's create a simple stuff. So it's going to be the chapter, right? We have the chapter, and then we have the verse. Dot format. I'll pass in the book name, the book selected. I'll pass in the chapter, and then I'll pass in the verse, right? Now in case I want to see it, I can just do the same thing with it. So st dot, let's use info. I'll pass in my page details. If I save it now, that is going to appear at the top here. So we're going to have the particular verse selected. So we have Joshua chapter 1 verse 1. Very simple, right? Now we also need to get only the text. So to get only the text, I'll just come back again. Then I'll just pick only the text. So how do we do that? So I can make it in a nice format. So let's go to the passage. Then I'm going to call it as this option dot format. I'll pick the selected passage. So selected passage. I only want the text column, right? Dot value, because we are just selecting a particular dot values is equal to 0, right? Then now I can bring it out st dot write the passage. If I save it now, this is going to be, we have the verse and then the passage. Very nice. So we are done with this. So let's take off this. We don't need that one. Nada. I'm speaking a different language, yeah? Okay. Perfect. So we are done. Now it's nice, right? So we have built a simple part of the app. We have built a single verse search of our wonderful app. And you see the location where we place it. We place it right this side, but I think it's better we put it here inside column 1 instead of column 2. So I'll come back and then let's make sure that we are in the right column. C1, C2, and then let's see whether we can work on the C2. This is going to be the verse of the day, right? So I can call it as my verse of the day. Let's use st.info verse of the day. So if I save it, let's check and see. So this is going to be, I hope it's supposed to come to the side. So C2 is not defined. So why is C2 not defined? Oh, we call it C1. That explains why. Somebody should have told me anyway. Now it's going to be row arranged. So the verse is here, then the verse of the day is there. So let's make this one different color. So we are using info, we are using success. So that is something very simple we have built. So we have both the option of selecting a particular verse, right? Then the verse of the day. If I go back, let's choose a different scriptures. So I'm going to choose. So let's see what I meant by the try except. If I come back here, let's choose, let's say Genesis, right? And everybody knows that Genesis doesn't have 60 chapters. If I go with 60, it's going to give us an error, right? Perfect. So that is why we use a try and except. So I'm going to come back again and then change this one from this. And I'm going to say that if that error is there, I can just give a warning. So verse or book out of range or something like that. Book out of range. Now it's no more going to give us that particular error. So book out of range, right? So that is very, very nice. So book out of range or book not found or verse not found, right? Something very simple. Now let's work on the other option of the verse of the day. So we're using random to help us with that. So in the next session, we're trying to see how to work with it. So to recap, what we have done so far is that we have just done the single verse option, right? And how did we do that? We just went to we loaded pandas. We loaded our data set using pandas. Then we got all the list of the book names. We created a simple session to get the chapter, the book, and then the verse. We created a new data frame. We for the particular book selected, then we use these conditions to be able to pick that particular verse and scripture. Now let's see how to work on the verse of the day in the next session. See you in the next session. Stay blessed. Alright, so welcome back. So in the previous session we saw how to build this particular StreamBible, right? We could select different parts of the Bible. So let's go back to Revelations. I can actually search from here. So let's pick Revelations. Let's go with REV, or let's say Romans. Right, Romans, yeah. So we have Romans, then Romans doesn't have 60. Let's pick 3 verse 20, right? 3:20 is going to bring the verse. What advantage? So therefore by the deeds of the law there shall no flesh be saved, be justified in the sight. For by the law is the knowledge of sin, right? Something very simple. So our app is working well. Now I want to add verse of the day, a simple random activity, right? Automatically generate a random verse. So we'll be using random to help us with that. So I'll come back to my terminal. I want to show you how to do that. I'm going to go to Python 3, or let's go with IPython. So I'm going with IPython. Then we're trying to see how to actually do random, right? To randomly select a verse of the scriptures. So what we'll be using is that we'll be using random from the standard library. So I'm going to import random, right? And using random to help us. So we're going to have a chapter list. So let's go to my chapter list, which is going to have a range of, let's say, 10, right? So if I go back to the chapter list now, it's going to give us range of 10, right? So in case I want to randomly select, I can just go with random.choice and pass in the chapter list that I want to select. So it's automatically going to select one for us. If I run it again, 5, so that is for the chapter. And I can also do the same thing for the verse, right? So this is going to be verse list. Let's use range of, let's say, let's make it 20, right? Or we can make it, yeah. And I can do the same thing that we did above to select the range. So for the range of, for the verses, right? So if I run it again, another one. So that is what we're trying to use to randomly pick a particular scriptures and then preview it, right? So I'll come back again to this place here, verse of the day. Then I'm going to create my chapter list, which is going to be my, let's create a range of any particular verse. Let's make it 10 by default. We want to just get 10. Then the verse list, you can give it a full name, but okay, let's give it a full name. chapter list, verse list, so that in the future you know what it does, right? So we have chapter list, verse list, we have range of, let's say, 20. Then I can also move on to pick the choice. So I can call it my chapter choice, which is going to be my random. We're using random to help us with that. So random.choice. Then I'll pass in the chapter list. Now I'll do the same thing for the verse choice. So random.choice. Then I'm going to specify the same thing. So verse list. So there are several ways you can do this. That is something very simple. Now let's pick the random Bible verse. So let's pick a random book. So I'll call it as my random book name, right? It's going to be my random.choice. And I'm going to pass in this book list that we had. We already had the book list here from above here, right? This is the unique book list. So we are going to randomly pick from any of them. So it's going to be a book list. Perfect. So that is all. We have gotten everything. So let's print out our result. So st.write. Then I can just print out the chapter. Let's pick out the book. Let's make it like this. So book, right? Let's make it like this. Book, chapter, verse, dot format. You can use string if you want. Dot format. Now pass in my random book name. I'll pass in my choice, and then my verse choice, right? So if I save it and I come back again, so now it's automatically going to randomly take one from us. So it's giving us random is not defined. So we have to import random from the top. We are using random, but we not import it. So let's import it here. So import random. Random is part of the standard library. So if I come back to my app now, it's at book SAML, second SAML, and then a chapter. Right, very nice. So if I run it again, let's run it again. I'm going to give us something different again, right? So automatically it's going to always pick something different. Take some time for it to run. So in case you have any question or contribution, you can just put it inside the comment section below. So that's giving us something new, right? So that's what we're trying to do. So anytime we run an app, it's automatically going to generate a random verse for us. So I'll come back again to the same place. We have gotten it. So this is going to give us our result. Now let's pick our random selected Bible. So random. This is random. Let's go to random Bible data frame, right? The naming is funny, but I hope you get it. So this, then this is going to be the book that we have picked. The book is going to pick the book name, the random book name. Right, so this is going to be random Bible, right? Then I'm going to randomly select a particular page. So it's going to be random selected, randomly selected passage, which is going to be the same thing we are using. So random Bible data frame. Then I'm going to do the same condition we did above. Remember we had this condition here, this condition that we had to select it. So this is the same condition we use. So I'll just copy the same thing because it's going to be the same thing. I'll copy this entire stuff. You can even use the same thing if you want, but I'll just make it like this. I'm going to change it from this, and then this, and then this, right? So this is going to be, so run. So we have the random Bible, and then this is going to be the random Bible. Perfect. So we have to change this one. So this, and then the other one is going to be referring to this one. So copy the chapter choice, and this is going to be the verse choice. Perfect. So let's preview what you have done. So what you are doing here is that we are just randomly selecting from our book this chapter and this verse randomly, right? So if I go back and I check it again, so st.write this randomly selected passage, and I check it back again. So let's go with always rerun. So now it's going to give us the verse. So now this is empty, right? It's empty because we need to be able to pick a particular one, right? So you have to bring out that particular option. So let's face it out. So now let's use, now we have selected like this. We can actually do this test to get that particular option only. It's an anti scam, right? Very simple. So hit the evil and love and establish. I don't know how it was able to bring this verse. It's very interesting. So what I will do is that I'll just make this one better. So I'm going to put it inside a, let's, apologies. Okay, so you make it, you put inside a simple design, right? So we're trying to see how to put inside a simple design. So I'll come back again and let's use try and accept, right? So using the same thing that we did above, the try and accept. So I'm going to say that try accept. So I'll pick this one here, or we can even make it better, right? Let's make that is. I'll put this one here. My test, right? The one I want to bring out, I'm going to call it as my randomly selected verse. Pick the test column, then this is going to be values, right? That is something very simple. 0, right? Perfect. So that's going to be the test, and then if there's an error, if it's out of range, we just go with the my test, and I'm going to give it a particular scriptures, right? A particular verse of the Bible that I want to use. So let's do the same thing we did above. We had this particular choice here, and every part of the Bible will always have chapter 1 and chapter verse 1. So if it is out of range, pick chapter 1 and pick verse 1. right? Something very simple. So this thing here, this can be put at the top in case you want, right? Anyhow it's going to be. Very nice. So now I can actually bring this one out. So I can bring it out. st.write my test. So let's save it and see what you have done so far. So now, perfect. So this is better. So this is going to give us the book and a chapter, right? Very cool and very nice. Wow. So we are done with the app. We are done with the verse section of the app. So what we need to do is that we need to make this one look nicer. So I'm going to go back and add some template design to it to make it nicer. So I'll copy it to save us time. So I'll come back to the top of my file. So let's create a new file. Let's paste this. So this is going to be the template. So I have some template here. So let's call it as my HTML random template, right? Something like that. This is something simple here. This is a simple template that we are using, right? To help us start up. Perfect. So we have the verse of the day, and then this is a simple design. So I'll save this one. I'll call it as my UI template, or I can call it as utilities, anyhow you want it to be. But let's call it utilities, your utils. The same place. Then I'm going to come back to my app. Then I'm going to import it there. So I just go back from here. So let's make it from here. So from utils, import HTML random template, right? For the random template. So I'll come back again down here. Then instead of using this particular option here, right, for the verse of the day, this is all of these things is just for the verse of the day. Instead of using that one, I'm just going to go back again and do this option of my let's use the markdown, the component. So htc.html, I'll pass in my HTML random template dot format, and I'll pass in my test. So if I save it now and let's check and see what you have done, I'm going to give us that nice design here, right? Very nice, right? Which is cool, which is not bad. So I have to specify a particular height, right? So I can just come back in here, and then let's pick the height, right? So just go back to the height. Let's make it like, let's say 300. Right, it expands down, right? Perfect, right? So this is going to be the verse of the day. So this is the particular verse that was chosen, the book and then the chapter. We can actually omit this one so that the person will have to guess it, right? You can even take off this one too, so that it doesn't look tautology. So I'll just take off this, the verse of the day, take off this one, and I'll take off this one too, right? That the person will have to guess what that verse is. Very nice. So this is nice, it's looking nice, and it's still giving us this particular thing, which is not the best. We need to only get the particular verse, not the entire stuff. And I think the reason it's giving us that is because here we are showing the entire stuff here. So to get only this one that we have here, anytime it comes with this option, right, it means it is picking this, right? That is why it's giving us that. So if I change this one and I add the test only, test dot values 0, now if it makes an error, it's going to pick that one, right? Very cool and very nice. So that is how to build a single verse session of the app. We have taken a lot of time trying to build this one, right? So we have seen how to build a simple app. So I can select a different chapter of the Bible. So let's use Numbers chapter 3 verse 5. I have no idea of what is there. Wow. See that, and the Lord spoke what Moses is saying, right? Very nice. And this is the elder, right? Or this is coming from the book of 1 John. Very cool. So we have been able to build something very simple. Now let's see how to move on to the next session and then build the multiple aspect of the app, right? But before we move on, let's add the search feature, how to search for a particular term. So I'll come back here. This is going to be a long video. I was thinking of breaking them down, but I feel it's going to be some funny way, right? So I'm just going to add this feature of the search option. So let's add it to it. I'll come down here. This is just outside the layout. going to be search, topic, or theme, right? So that's what we're trying to do. So how do we do that? So it's very simple. We're using the search input. So let's search theme, then st.test input. I'm passing my theme / topic, right? If I save it, now it's going to give us that option here, right? You can actually search for a particular theme, and we'll be using string.contain to be able to search the entire data frame to find a particular theme, right? So let's position it side by side, and then this one beside it, right? Wow, it's looking like the app is looking nice anyway. So I'll come back here and then I'll just work on it. So here, from here, I'm going to be creating the option of the search option. So I'm going to say that with st.beta_expander, I want you to view the result that was displayed. Then I'm going to be using as my retrieved data frame. Then I'm going to use data frame, right? We are just picking inside the test column. I want you to search for string.contains that particular theme. That is all. So this is going to return true. So to be able to get everything out, I have to just pick that particular option. So this, the retrieve data frame, right? This is going to give us a retrieve data frame. Now to be able to get that particular text itself, right, that was found, I can just specify the book, the chapter, and the rest. So this option here, I can just go with st.dataframe retrieve data frame. So I save it. Let's come down here. It's loading the data set. This is for the search option, right? Now, if I go back and I search for, let's say, a word like, let's say, David, right? If I search David and I click on enter, it's going to analyze our app and then search for any part of the data frame that has the theme David. Take some time for it to run because David is a lot. So you see that these are all the places in the scriptures that have the theme David, right? So these are all of them. So book, chapter, and verse. And if I click on this one, you can see that now it's showing that particular stuff. So that is the simple search option, right? Very cool, very nice. But we don't need this one. So in case you don't want it out, you can just eliminate it by specifying the column that you want, right? So you can make it like this. You can make it like this option. You need only the text, or we can say I need the book. This is simple Panda stuff, and I need a chapter, and I need a verse. So this is something simple. So this, and then this. I don't know whether the audio is okay or it's going down, up and down. So this is going to only select without giving us the ID, right? Going to give us only the particular, right? This is better. Right? That is how to build a search feature. So we are done with the first aspect of our app. Very cool and very nice. That is something very nice. So let's go back to our dashboard, our Kanban. So we are done with the single verse session. So I'll put it here. We are done. Now let's move on to the multi-verse session of the app, right? So in the next session, I'm trying to see how to work on the multi-verse session of the app. So all that we did so far is that we just created these simple stuff. Created 2 sessions. One to help us search a verse, right? Another one to help us randomly select using random choice, right? And another one to help us do a simple search, right? Very cool. So in the next session, we're trying to work on the multi-verse aspect of the app. So thank you for watching. See you in the next session. Stay blessed.